Hey, Space Cadets. This is Ross Johnson, your favorite co host from the Sound of Tomorrow show on WAYO 104.3 FM Rochester, which, hey, is what you're listening to. Coming up on the show, we've got. We're going to talk about the Trans Day of Visibility, some stuff related to that, which just happened recently. We're going to talk about reality TV. And we've got some hot picks for you. Those are the big things. We got a little bit of fun, a little bit of serious. We're mixing it up like we do. That's the thing on the show. Wayo 104.3 FM. Coming up next. But first.
Ross, what a day.
Oh, no. Poor Heather. What happened?
I just have a dagger to grind.
Oh. Okay.
You look confused.
Yeah, I even emailed you back, which, I almost never do.
Yes, you did, and thank you. But that doesn't affect the dagger I need to grind.
Well, then, okay. Let's just clear the other. So, what's this dagger?
It's a dagger.
Okay, Heather. I think we're having a miscommunication here. You say you have a dagger to grind, and I'm assuming that's you saying in your cutesy way, because you don't always know what words are, that you have an axe to grind.
Oh, no, I think my axe is plenty sharp. Oh, but I get it now.
Yes! I was so worried. I thought I'd done something to make you mad.
No. I mean, you did actually even email me back. I just spent all weekend trying to grind an edge onto my new dagger, and wow, it's frustrating.
Wow, okay. Now I'm worried for a different reason.
Oh, thanks, but it's okay. I'll get it sharp eventually. Just takes a lot of elbow grease.
No, I'm mostly more worried about why you have a dagger at all.
Well, I wasn't supposed to have it back yet. I took it to the local hardware store where they said they do blade sharpening. And the hardware kid was pretty stoked I brought in such a cool piece. And he said it would be back in a week or so. And I have to say, the message he left saying he was so sorry they don't sharpen daggers at the store, it was pretty sweet. The kid sounded so bummed. But now it's all up to me.
Yeah, again, no. So just to be clear, you and a dagger, pointy bladey thing, that's what worries me.
Ross, sometimes you act like you've never met me. The question is, why didn't I already have a dagger way before now?
That's true. Point taken.
Well, the point hasn't taken yet. Still more grinding to do.
Okay, I need you to stop. Just don't. Stop. Stop it. It's enough.
I still got it.
No one wants what you have. Or you to have a dagger. Nobody wants any of it.
Oh, they really wouldn't sharpen it
Nobody
at the
wants
hardware
the show,
store.
even.
No, they don't today.
What are you going to do? It's free. You're not going anywhere. It's free.
You're in the car.
You can't. What are you going to do? Pull over and change the channel?
Oh, no.
You're probably on the freeway.
Oh,
You're
no.
stuck.
Oh.
Hey, everybody. I'm Ross Johnson, your favorite co-host.
And I'm Heather Zykowski, the babe with the power. Welcome back to the Sound of Tomorrow on WAYO LP Rochester.
As the nation enters its 40th month of this season of RuPaul's Drag Race, we are here to tell you that we are staying with you until this long national nightmare is over.
It is amazing. So we haven't done a RuPaul recap in a couple of minutes.
No, we're not hateful.
I'm up to date, except for some reason on the big box service where I have to buy Untucked that has not yet dropped.
Oh, no.
I know. It's a little frustrating because I do like to get the whole story instead of just part of the story. Wow. So, Ross, we finally saw the golden chocolate bar.
Yes. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me with this chocolate bar right now?
Yeah, so was I. Well, I've got to say, as I predicted, the second they brought out the chocolate bars and gave them to the contestants, I was like, oh, I'm going to hate this.
Yeah.
And every single time, because I wanted there to not be a chocolate bar. So I would block that part out in my mind. So I'd be watching the episode and I'd see who was told to go away. And then the chocolate bar would come out, and then I would yell every time, like, "Ah, no, the chocolate bar!" Sometimes with a couple expletives.
For anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, and I'm not going to explain this too long because we're not going to drag this out. But
Drag
so this season of
it out.
RuPaul's Drag Race is the longest season in the history
It
of, I think,
is.
any show. And it's
longer than Vampire Diaries.
right. And they added this thing as a way of making it longer. They added this thing where if you get this chocolate bar, everybody gets a secret chocolate bar at the beginning, and somebody's got a gold chocolate bar, and somebody gets to use the gold chocolate bar to not go home. And then you're like, when you're like 13 episodes in and there are still 18 contestants or something, you're like, really? Somebody's got a chocolate bar now. Oh, good. They've got the chocolate bar. So now nobody goes home again. So now we've got 14 more episodes. Great. Thanks.
Yes.
And I don't know. I didn't think that I would get, and I still watch the show and I still like the show. I didn't think I'd be like sort of over RuPaul's Drag Race at any point. And I'm not over the show, and I'm not even over the season, but I am sort of like, I'm definitely, I think, along with the rest of America, the Drag Race watching America, I am sort of in a mode of like, okay, we need to start wrapping this up now.
Yep. Yep. That's kind of where I am. I will watch. I will enjoy. I will be as invested as I am when there's not like somebody I'm super duper like over the moon rooting for.
Mm-hmm.
I'll enjoy it. I like it. They're putting out this show for me to watch. I'm grateful. But yeah, we could wrap this season up. It's been great. We've really gotten to know these queens.
really gotten to know.
I mean, they showed, who was it from the beginning? Like Alyssa Hunter. I saw a meme the other day, like, hard to believe this person was on season 14 of Drag Race. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, seems like she was 3 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was not displeased with the double elimination this week.
No, that was that that brought me back on board.
Yep, that was absolutely fine. I love Georges. I was definitely thinking like, we have seen a lot of her. She's super famous now. I think we can say goodbye.
Yeah.
On the program.
It's all fine. I'm ready to move on.
Yep. I'm trying to who do you think is going to win?
I don't know.
We don't have any spoilers here, so this is just off the tops of our heads.
No, I mean, I feel like there's sort of a top 4 that I could pitch, and they're sort of evenly matched. I mean, I think my favorite is Lady Camden, but I don't know that Lady Camden is going to be the winner.
Yeah, she is great.
I don't know. For me, there's not like a 100% clear winner this season, which is fine.
Top 4, Bosco, Angeria, Willow Pill, and Lady Camden?
Yeah, I think so. Although, I don't know, but Bosco sort of bores me a little bit. Like, not in a mean way. I'm not being mean. I'm not trying to be mean. I mean, we're just talking about, we're just chatting here. We're just friends. Yeah, Bosco sort of goes over my head. Not goes over my head. Like I sort of forget. I don't know. Bosco doesn't do it for me, I guess. And Bosco is lovely and talented, wonderful. Don't get me wrong. But so yeah, Bosco is probably top 4. But I don't know. I mean, I guess it would be like, I guess my top 3 would be Angeria, Willow Pill, and Lady Camden.
Yeah, I think that's the clear top 3.
Any of those 3 could kind of win to me.
Yep, I'm with you, and it'll be good. It'll be fun to see. But yeah, it's been a lot.
Yeah.
And now there's a new season of España.
Yeah. I feel like with the same people too, they run out of stuff to talk about. I don't know if it's the most like, it's not that people aren't interesting. I don't know if the relationships are that interesting to me to go with an extended season. I don't know. Like I feel like I'm not getting extra things from people at this point. Like, I feel like it's just episodes of like, oh, okay, these are the character traits that we've defined for you, and that's what we're going to see more of.
Yep. Yeah.
So, it's fine.
Well, and another thing, and I kind of like this and kind of don't. It definitely seems like everybody is so aware of what the show's going to do for their reputation.
Right.
Their personas are very curated and very managed and like reined in as much as they possibly can for, I think all of the queens this season were under 30. So these are also very young people
Yeah.
who are trying to curate these images.
Well, that's it. The show's curating their personalities. They're curating their own personalities because I think any reality show that goes on, more than a couple seasons, people get to figure out what works and what doesn't and what they want to portray, and they decide to do that going in. And I think, the best reality shows kind of try to break that down a little bit, but people are still sort of in their, people still sort of get in their thing. And then it's edited to sort of go along with, their the shows are edited to sort of emphasize or de-emphasize. So it's if I felt like I was getting more of these real people, but I feel like it's limited. It's just limited how much you're ever going to get. And to do that episode after episode where it's like, oh, Diabetes still saying,
yep, she's going to be the villain, but even these days, like the villain character understands what they're doing, and it's often a very light form of villainy.
Yeah. So I don't know. So anyway, it's enough.
It's enough.
It's enough, RuPaul.
Yeah, I mean, I am definitely ready for a new season.
Yeah.
With like a new cast, which, I mean, I always have to back up for a sec when I say something even remotely critical because, oh my gosh, the talent it takes to just get on this program.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Holy crow.
Definitely.
Like, I can hardly walk in heels these days.
Right. But you're allowed to have your favorites too. So.
I am. It's true.
And you're allowed to get tired of watching the same people over and over again.
Yeah. So, Ross, I believe there's been a new development in my home.
Okay.
I don't know. I really don't, but this was so weird. So last night it was getting to be around time to go to bed, and Nigel was...
Please be a ghost. Please be a ghost. Please be a ghost.
Yeah, I think it might be.
Okay.
I don't know. I really don't know. So Nigel started acting really weird, like not sick weird or anything, but like anxious to go upstairs, which he generally is not. Like at night we hang out, and if he wants to go upstairs, he doesn't need me to come upstairs. But he was milling around in a way that it wasn't his usual way of milling. So I was like, all right, I guess, I'm tired enough. I'll read for a while, whatever, dude. We'll go up.
Sure.
So I go to give him his goodnight snacks because he gets snacks before bed, as we do. And Ross will know, but many listeners will not. You know that area of my house where it's like you would go from the front door into the kitchen and there's like that little alcove type area?
Yeah.
He was in there and his snacks were in the kitchen. And all of a sudden he started like darting around as though he was playing with a toy or chasing a mouse or something. But he was not chasing a toy, and there was not a mouse or a spider or a bug or a dust bunny or anything. And then he stopped and like his eyes were darting around and his head was moving real fast, like he was tracking something. And I kept going like, buddy, what do you see? What do you see? Because I'm trying to see something. And then he runs off into the living room.
So, so this is interesting because, there are sort of there are two scenarios, each more terrifying than the previous.
Do you think he was pranking me?
Well, that's a possibility. I mean, there's also the possibility he's just an idiot. And, because one of my dogs in particular will do stuff like that, and it's really, and he's not an idiot like he's stupid, he's just, I don't know, he doesn't apply himself, I guess, or he's not focused on intellectual pursuits. So the conclusions he draws about the world are not always the smartest. So there's that.
I don't know. I mean, Nigel's old and he's never done anything like that before. He does other weird things, but it's like today he had the zips. Sometimes it
Mhm.
gets the zips.
Yeah.
But the whole like scrambling around in that weird little area by the coat closet door, just like, what?
And so is there any, did the people die in your, I'm going to do this like a legitimate investigation. Okay. We're
Okay,
going to
I'm
do a
ready.
paranormal investigation, right? Okay.
Let's do
So
it.
they die in your house? Like
I
anybody
mean,
or anything?
honest,
Like a raccoon? It could be a raccoon ghost too. I don't think there's any reason why it couldn't be a raccoon ghost.
right? Yeah. I people always say, a lot of the houses around here are older. Mine was built in 1880, so it's likely someone died in the house.
Yeah. Because I mean, that's the rule. I mean, as a paranormal investigator, of course, I know this. It's not a question. Of course, that's the rule is you have to have died in the house
Right.
if you're going to haunt the
Or on
house.
the land before the house was built.
I suppose, but I mean, that time those ghosts had sort of faded unless they're very angry. Um, so is your house built on a Native American burial ground?
I mean, probably. It's in
Right.
the US.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so that's potentially that's a vengeful ghost situation. Although this doesn't sound terribly vengeful if the cat's just chasing, but I mean it's possible. So here's the thing: that also this, time sort of attenuates the ghost situation. So it's also
yeah.
possible that this is an extremely vengeful ghost that just doesn't really have a lot of juice anymore. So
Yeah.
all they can do is sort of annoy your cat.
I don't know. I mean, what I'm wondering is I've told you how that very same coat closet that Nigel was outside of last night, that is where people have told me they feel a presence in my home.
Right,
Maybe the
but why
ghost
would
got out of the closet.
what would somebody die in a coat closet though? Like
That is
what's
a
that scenario?
I cannot quite figure out what's up with that closet because the weirdest thing about it is that it has a lock on the door, but the lock is on the inside.
No.
So, as like it were a bedroom or a bathroom or something where somebody would go in and lock themselves in.
Hmm.
That's
That is
kind of
weird.
weird for a closet, right?
That is weird.
Because
But is
it's
it like an
not big enough to be a room. It might be big enough to be like a fort.
is it an old door? I just want to now I just have to ask this just for the sake of my investigation, so please don't be insulted. Did you put that door on?
No, I
Because
didn't.
that
No,
would
the door
okay.
came with the house.
All right. Interesting. So I guess, that's so presumably there was someone who lived in that closet
I
and locked themselves in to protect themselves from something in the rest of the house, which was presumably something on the other side of the door,
in
right?
the
Because something would be trying to get in
I guess so. I don't
and
yeah.
then died, or they both died. Maybe they
I
both died. The one guy, I assume it's a guy. And I'm seeing a guy, right? Tried to get he died trying to get in, and whoever was in the closet, which I don't have a gender for that person, um, died. Waiting to get out.
I don't yeah. I don't
And
know.
then the person died when the guy died trying to get in. He just died. He was like in front of the door. So then the person in the closet could not get out at that point because
Well,
he was sort of stuck.
just to add to your paranormal investigation
Sure.
fact dossier, I think they call them.
Yeah.
The person who told me they felt a presence in the coat closet said it was a young presence like that of a child and it was happy.
Oh.
And the singing that I'd heard in there was the child hearing their mother singing,
Hmm.
but they were in the closet, but she was like singing in the outside of the house. So it was filtering through the walls into the closet. So it sounds
Yeah.
more like the closet. And this is what I'm thinking. It might have been a fort or like a little play area because it's big enough that a kid could have a lot of fun in there. Because
Let me
it's one of
tell
those
you.
L-shaped ones, right?
Let me tell you though. However much fun that kid was having in there, that is like some terrible parenting if you're putting a lock on the door so your kid can like lock themselves into the closet. That's like, I mean, having a lock on the outside is not great, but you sort of expect that on a closet door like that. Um But
I don't
having a
know.
lock
That
on
would
the
honestly, that would creep me
yeah,
out even more if there were a lock on the outside of that door. I was like, who was locking whom in this closet and
yeah,
why?
you're right. I guess I'm thinking
That
of
would
it as like a
upset me.
I
Like
guess
that
I'm
would
thinking of it as
alarm me.
like a basement door where you might have a lock on the inside or the outside. But yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. You're right. A lock on
A lock on
yeah,
a closet door would make me have a lot more questions than the lock on the inside of the closet door. I will confess
yeah,
that.
yeah. So I mean, clearly somebody was living in this closet.
Maybe they subletted it at some point.
And it's like old timey time, so maybe that was reasonable. Maybe
Yeah.
that was like, it's fine.
I don't
Um,
know.
so I don't know. I'm rethinking the whole thing, but I'm still thinking somebody died outside the door and the kid couldn't get out. But then the kid
Huh.
was locked, had locked themselves in also. So it might have been a not. I don't know. I wouldn't look into this further, honestly, because I think the solution is going to be more horrifying than not knowing.
Well, I'm just
That's my way
hoping
of
that
looking at it.
I'm hoping Nigel doesn't go in because he's always done the thing where, as cats do, he'll like stare up at a corner
Yeah,
and I'll be like, "What do you see, baby? You see a ghost? You see a ghost?" He doesn't say. But this whole like chasing something invisible,
yeah.
this is new.
I mean, I guess I'm revisiting my previous analysis and just thinking like, I don't know, there's a happy ghost that's playing with your cat. Um although
That might be.
if it's the ghost of a happy child, like how happy is the child because they're dead? I don't know. you know? People you'd say like, "Oh, there's a happy child who's smiling cuz his mother's out in the living room and she's singing and it's nice." But then like you I don't know, are ghosts stuck at the age that they died?
I
Could you be an
I have
old
no
person and just
idea.
like your ghost is a young kid? I don't know. So anyway,
I
what
bet you could.
I mean, there are no rules, right? This is all made up.
Not that
So
I know of.
so so what I'm going to recommend that you do is you go in that closet and you lock the door and you get one of those like old-timey tape recorders and
Ooh.
you ask it questions and
I've heard you're
then
never supposed to do that in your own home.
oh my god, no. And not in a million years, but I think you should do it cuz it's not my
Uh,
home, it's your home. So
what are you trying to get me to draw?
I don't know. It's not my house, and you don't even live anywhere near me, so it's not really going to be a problem for me. I guess is what I'm saying.
I'm gonna bottle up anybody who comes to leave me EVPs, and I'm gonna bring them over to your place.
I don't. I mean, I guess it's all made. I guess I guess we're making up the rules, so I guess you can do that. Well, I'm gonna burn my house down and fly to where you can't find me. So
No, I am not. As tempting as it is to take a recorder and go hang out and ask questions, I really have heard like, no, never ever do that in your own home.
just because it's scary.
No, because you never know who will come to answer you.
Hmm.
And it's unlikely that it's going to be the entity that you desire.
Hmm. So you think the happy kid wouldn't would just be like la la la, I don't care, I don't have anything to say to you, but the but you would draw the whoever put that lock on the inside of the closet. Yeah.
Yes, the home repair person. I did tell you that I took a Ouija board in there, right?
I don't know if you told me that.
Yeah, the Ouija board was annoyed and kept going like, "No, goodbye."
Wait, okay, so I don't want to. I'm sorry, everybody. This is not what we planned to talk about today. But let's, you know what? Again, it's free. You're on the highway. You're not going anywhere.
Right.
So what are you going to do? Why is it okay to do a Ouija board then?
It probably wasn't.
Okay,
I was being a bully.
all right.
Someone was like, "I'm a little bit afraid of Ouija boards," and I was like, "Oh, I have one." Um, and so we got out the Ouija board. No, I'm sure that's not fine.
All right.
I'm not saying it's a good thing to do.
All right.
I've definitely heard it's a very, very bad thing to do. It's definitely a thing I did.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just not want to. I would like. I am not particularly superstitious, but I guess I'm superstitious enough that I I don't know if I believe that like, some demon would come and talk into the tape recorder, but what I do think is possible is that I would hear something in the tape recorder, and then
Uh-huh.
suddenly I would be I would go from being like not superstitious about anything weird in my house to like being super conscious of something weird in my house. So it's one of those things where I feel like generally I'm supportive of, I'm pro knowledge and being aware of things, and like get that medical test, and get it's important to know. There are some things
Yep.
I'm like, maybe I don't want to know.
Yeah. I I'm in agreement on this one. I guess if Nigel keeps acting weird, because he didn't act like injured or anything. Like I don't think there was anything wrong with him, but
I mean, I, I mean,
it
in
was
the movie,
unusual behavior.
in the movie scenario where plates start flying at your head, there gets to be a point where like, oh,
Then you
okay, I'm
need to
aware that
know.
things are going on, and there's no like disguising this situation, and information can only help me at this point. But yeah, just in a general like, you know, if there's an intangible evil spirit around my house that can neither be seen nor heard, like I don't need to go like trying to hear it.
Yeah.
And then like every time I go to the bathroom, I'm like, so
Well, what
because
I'm
they get
gonna
you in the
go
bathroom
with,
is what happens.
it's true, they do. Paul F. Tompkins has such a good bit on that. Um, the the punchline being, I'll spoil this because it's been out for years, that for the monster to creep behind him and appear after he splashes cold water on his face, the phrase "excuse me" would have to be used because his bathroom's so small. I sometimes think about that in my bathroom. I'm like, well, nothing can appear behind me because not
Yeah,
even Nigel can get in here with me without saying excuse me.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to go with your theory of some kind of little kid ghost caught Nigel's attention and was playing with him.
All right, fair enough.
And then probably the only reason Nigel was like freaked out about that and then ran upstairs and hid in my office is that the little kid disappeared.
This is where I do the Jonathan Frakes thing, and I go, it's fact, and then that's the end of the show.
Well, so that's all I had on new developments in my home.
I love it. I don't have any.
Yeah,
I don't have any of that.
it's pretty
Um,
good.
I have something scary actually.
Tell me about the scary
So
things.
the Trans Day of Visibility was recently, and that's a nice thing, except that there's so much gross stuff in the wind. So I don't want to dig too deep into anything gross, except to say this is kind of a, hey jerk, stop being
Mm-hmm.
stop being mean to trans people. It's partially that, but it's also like a, god, social media is so bad for us as like
It
human
is.
beings. So this was a this was post Media Matters for America posted this, Olivia Little and Abby Richards, um and they refer to a couple of scholarly papers, but basically, so this is referring to there was a study, and this just refers to TikTok, but I am sure this is true otherwise. So, um, by analyzing and coding over 400 recommended videos, after interacting solely with transphobic content. So these people for Media Matters, basically they did an experiment with TikTok where they interacted only with transphobic content. And what they got out of that was, I mean, probably an enormous freaking headache. But what they found was that they were the algorithms that direct you to, the algorithms and all these social media things that direct you to other content based on what you like. It was directing them to not just more transphobic content, which would
Um,
be bad enough. It was directing them into further and further, um, basically far right extremism. Um,
oh, yeah. Okay.
and we've sort of talked about this even with like the J.K. Rowling stuff, where it started with this sort of like, it almost seemed, and I don't know what the progression in her head was versus like what was public, but you sort of saw this, and Roseanne was like this a little bit too, like again and again. I can't speak to their life and their heads,
Mm-hmm.
but in terms of what you saw in public, it seemed to like they started like dipping their toes in this turf stuff, sort of like lightly, like
Mm-hmm.
almost to where you were like, are they really being turfy, or do they just not know like that that's not an appropriate thing to say,
Yeah.
or you know what I mean? And then it like both of them, and then it turned into like then it's gone like further and further down the rabbit hole. um so, and this is what Media Matters for America found. Transphobia, to quote, is deeply entwined with other kinds of far right extremism, and TikTok's algorithm only reinforces this connection. Our research suggests that transphobia can be a gateway prejudice, leading to further right-wing, far-right radicalization. To assess this phenomenon, created a new TikTok account, engaged only with content we identified as transphobic. Um, and so to so so the other stuff, basically the other categories of stuff that they started getting recommended, just broadly, and they don't give you
Mm-hmm.
links to the stuff, but so it went from sort of transphobia to homophobia to general misogyny to
Mm-hmm.
sort of white supremacy.
Yeah.
A lot of prominent far right figures in white supremacy, and then to like calls to violence. Then they got stuff about like outright hate symbols, you know, anti-Semitism, and all the sort of QAnon conspiracy theories, that sort of thing. So, um, there's a lot more
Mm-hmm.
detail in the article if anyone cares, but I think you get the idea.
Yeah.
And I think this is something that we've seen. There was a paper that they refer to, an academic paper, "The Motivated Cognitive Basis of Transphobia: The Roles of Right-Wing Ideologies and Gender Role Beliefs" by Artie Makwana et al. And it was sort of it's, and I mentioned that only. I'm not gonna read that paper because that would be annoying and take a long time. But just to sort of reinforce, this is something that people have been, this is something that we've sort of seen just anecdotally,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also something people have begun to study. And like with this paper, they particularly talk about like, the UK. And I think that's been sort of a nexus for some of this in a weird way, with like the
Mm-hmm.
turfism stuff seemed to be, remember a few years ago when we were like first started seeing sort of the turfy kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and it seemed to be really like focused in the UK, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
what is with all these? And that now it's sort of spread, of course, so now it's
Right.
an international phenomenon. But I don't know, it seems like social media is just bad.
It is. It really
it's
is.
it's so funny to me, like, not funny, haha, but the turfism stuff. And this is, by the way, I'm sure we've talked about this enough, but this is trans exclusive radical feminism, which refers to a type of feminism that says trans women are not women and are not
Mm-hmm.
included in feminism, which is such a, like, the phenomenon of it in general is so, you think about like, you think about some of the main cruxes of feminism over the decades, right? It's like, respect our bodies,
Mm-hmm.
understand our bodies, don't tell us what to do with our bodies, don't make
Yeah.
laws um about what we can and can't do with our bodies, especially when you don't understand our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
um you know Doctors, hey, listen to us when we tell you, we have concerns, when we have pain, when we have discomfort, when we have anything wrong with our bodies. Listen to us, don't dismiss us as, silly women and that sort of thing.
That is still not happening.
Well, and these are things that, these have been sort of like some of the main, the main issues in terms of feminism, again, for decades. Like,
Mm-hmm.
try to understand our bodies, respect our bodies, respect what we're telling you about our bodies. Don't make laws and rules, especially don't make laws and rules about what we can do with our bodies, especially when you don't even understand our bodies.
Yeah.
And suddenly, I mean, it makes you sort of despair,
Mm-hmm.
because then suddenly you see like, oh, here's some mostly wealthy white feminists, quote unquote, I'm putting feminists in quotes, who sort
Mm-hmm.
of, maybe made a little progress, and suddenly we're like, who can't come into this club? Who I want to keep out of this club?
Yeah. It's It's really dismaying. And I do have a lot of trouble with that logic that you just pointed out. And again, we talk a lot about the logic train. And I guess this is another one where I can't go jump on that train because that's not where it's running. Like, we're not on the logic train with
Right.
turfism.
Right.
It doesn't make sense. And it seems just
It seems so
gross and
obvious.
hateful. And
It seems so obviously hypocritical too. I mean, again, like you say, you can't, you can't, you can't fight, you can't fight. You can't try to fight with logic when that's not a weapon that is going to penetrate anybody at this
right.
point. But it just seems so obviously hypocritical. I mean, like, one breath you're like, don't tell me what to do with my body. Don't make laws that say tell me what I can do and what I and can't do with my body. But also, who needs to not do stuff with their bodies? Trans women.
Yeah.
I mean, then this applies to all trans people. I'm not just talking about trans women, but with the turf stuff, we sort of moved into the turf stuff. You're largely talking about trans women is where the
I have never seen a turf. No, not never, not never. You did say that this was a couple years ago, I guess now. J.K. Rowling does have feelings about trans men.
yeah. So
So
the
I've seen like one comment from a turf about trans men, but
yeah.
lots about trans women.
Well, the turf line on trans men seems to be poor trans men. They don't understand how they've been tricked into not being women. It's a little more of a pitying condescension. I think is the turf line on trans men. Like, it's a little more pitying. Like, oh, you poor silly, not a man. You just don't. You just think you want to be a man. It's and again, this is not my. This is not my. Do
Yes.
not pull any of these quotes. This is not me saying
We're
this.
suddenly very worried someone's going to do like a super cut of
Right.
us talking like
Like,
we're other
like,
people.
this is the one time someone's going to be listening. But yeah. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's such a again, it's well, and again, I have to keep coming back to, like we always say, like, there's only so much there's only you can throw out the logic, and then but it's sort of immediately you know but interestingly, this was another piece of this that I almost forgot. So there was an article in Salon by Mary Elizabeth Williams, which I don't know, is Salon sort of weird these days, but
Yeah, it is.
it's sort of it connected to this scholarly paper, and it sort of gave a little abstract of that, which made it easier to understand without going through the whole thing. And the link between transphobia and homophobia, and the correlation with um, right-wing authoritarian right-wing say the word say that word for me.
Authoritarianism.
Thank you. So and that paper I mentioned that ties to this as well, and it talks about studies that have shown, and this particular study that shows basically the ambiguity that people have around gender identity. I mean, this sort of makes sense when you look at it, but it's sort of the idea that people who tend to have more authoritarian views, more religious fundamentalist views, more openly hostile sexist views. There's a strong correlation between the not just the obvious things of homophobia and transphobia, but this need to have things pinned down a lot more more traditionally and more succinctly. Like, it's sort of the sense that for a certain personality type, there's too much. It's too complicated. It gets too complicated. So there's this link with this authoritarianism, in the sense that the same kind of people who want things to be very pat and understandable and not complicated, it tends to feed into, and they feed these different personality traits sort of feed each other. This idea that I want to tell people, part of me likes to tell people what to do, or either in a religious way or just in a right wing, again, authoritarian way. I don't know why I can't say that today.
I
And
know.
then,
It's beginning to make no sense to me. It's turned into one of those. Every
I think
time you
that's
say it, I'm like, I don't think I can pronounce that anymore. I've lost it for today.
destroyed that word. With this idea of, I need to have things. I need to have things very pinned down, and they call this that there's a way of scoring this, and there's a way of studying this in people, and it's called a need for closure. And it's sort of the need to, again, it's that need to have everything fit into an easy little box, right? And that can be I think that's something everybody can relate to on some
Right.
level. But it gets to a point in certain types of personalities, again, according to this study, at least, where it goes too far. It goes too far, and it goes into telling other people what to do because you can't handle ambiguity.
Right.
You can't handle any complication or any, again, ambiguity, I think is probably a good word here. And you can't handle it in other people. So you want to tell people what to do. Ludovic doesn't like that either.
No, he doesn't.
So anyway, that was a very slow UPS delivery. So we've just edited this recording for anyone who's listening because my dog would not shut up.
I liked hearing his voice. I miss him.
Yep. So anyway, I don't know. So that's that's the thing that's bad.
Do you want to hear a thing that's good? Kind of along the same LGBTQIA lines.
I would love that.
I have a nice article here from bustle.com by Radhika Menon entitled Netflix next reality dating show will feature an all queer cast. Finally.
Wow. Okay.
So I love those reality shows on Netflix, and I was
you can't say words anymore either.
No, I can't. I've lost it. Sorry, folks. We've forgotten the English language today. So, over on Netflix, what kind of rip-off service does Heather watch?
Right.
You wouldn't be surprised though if I watched something called Netflix.
No, literally nobody'd be surprised.
That is so me, in fact.
No, I remember you I don't know if you still use your knockoff Wordle services because you didn't want to use the free Wordle for some reason.
I do the real Wordle now. And sometimes I use the knockoff when I want to play more than once.
Sure.
But so there are going to be renewals for Love is Blind through season 5, Indian Matchmaking, and The Ultimatum, Marry or Move On, the latter of which hasn't even aired its first season yet.
Wow.
But I've heard about it, and it drops Friday. No, it actually drops Wednesday. So folks, it drops tonight, apparently. The Ultimatum, Marry or Move On, will give 6 different couples at a crossroads in their relationship an ultimatum to either commit to marriage or break up. The second season airing within a year will feature an all-queer cast of mostly women, according to the video announcement. So I think that'll be nice. We won't be seeing like the super conventionally attractive by Western standards straight people. We'll get to see the super conventionally attractive by Western standards queer people on the program.
I'm just glad there's a place for pretty people on TV, honestly.
Yeah, they're nice to look at.
A little tired.
I know. Of just
turning on my
same
TV.
Same old.
Yeah.
And people just look like me. I'm like, oh.
Right.
Why? Can't we get some like models up in this joint?
Right. And I can't relate to people who don't look as good as me. So this is something I struggle with on TV in general. So I'm glad to get some representation there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But so the cast for the second season hasn't been announced yet, but it will be mostly women for the queer cast. And Love is Blind, the producers have replied to some fan feedback about having more inclusive contestant pools.
Oh, good.
So, and then they mention a little bit later in this article, it's a really short one, but I liked that they're going to be doing some more stuff with some reality shows that I find interesting and enjoyable. And B, there's going to be more queer representation. I like that.
I'm waiting for the all gay season of Is It Cake?
But I heard a guy from Is It Cake on Drag Her just today, and he's very gay. So there was
Well,
at least someone gay on there.
okay. So I guess one person is fine. That's enough
He
representation
he
for you.
didn't
Got it.
mention the rest of the
Got it.
cast.
All right. Yep.
I
Oh
just
no,
when I
there's
just heard him on
one.
Drag,
No, there
there's a
was a
gay guy.
no, there was a gay guy in season 2. What are you talking about? It's plenty of representation. Yeah.
Hey, I just found out about that program today while listening to Drag Her.
Hmm.
Yeah. But they have a few other suggestions on some queer friendly shows with like queer people in them that you might enjoy if you want to see more reality TV. There's a gay bachelor-esque series called Finding Prince Charming that ran on Logo. MTV has a few seasons of reality romance shows, including X on the Beach and Are You the One? And then I did watch this on Netflix. I said it properly this time. Dating Around. And I it was fine. I um it was fine. It was an interesting concept. It was you followed a person around on a bunch of first dates. Like I think they went on 3 first dates and then they had to decide with whom they would go on the second date.
I like to that sounds good. Uh,
Well, the one thing that was very interesting was I think the first one was like a woman who was trying to meet men, but then there was a woman who was meeting women and men. Then there was a woman who only wanted to meet girls. Then there was a guy who only wanted to meet guys. And it was just nice that it was a very, very short run, but it wasn't just so heteronormative.
yeah. I like it.
Yeah. And the interesting thing about that program, one thing I like about a lot of these reality shows is you got to see Dating Around takes place in New Orleans. So you got to see like the interiors of a lot of restaurants. You got to see what the people were eating. You got like views of the street and stuff like that. Nightclubs. It's just kind of cool to see another city since travel hasn't really been a thing I can do lately most of the time.
Oh, cuz you're alone. Yeah. I
And there's still a pandemic.
oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That too. Um
Yeah, just that too.
I want to crossover where there's like, oh my god. Okay, I've just invented a show, but I don't know if I can. I probably can't do it because it's probably too close to other shows. But like, what if you have to, you meet you're maybe you're introduced to a panel of potential romantic partners,
Mhm.
gender, doesn't matter. Um, but one of them is cake. So you have to figure out, like, what if you go the whole thing and then you finds out the one you chose is cake, and then is that good or bad? I don't know.
I mean, I think it's probably pretty good when they're cake because
Right.
cake is delicious.
So I'm gonna call it. I guess I'm gonna call it. Is he cake? But I mean that's a little gender limited, But
Can't you do Are They Cake?
are they cake? Yeah, sure. So I'm gonna
You
copyright that.
know, my question for your Are They Cake program is do those cakes that are shaped like all kinds of different things, do they taste good?
No, I don't think so because they're all well, I don't know. I mean the a lot of times no because they're all like fondant and
That's what I
they're
thought.
yeah. And a lot of times with I don't know about the Is It Cake show because I've not actually seen it, but a lot of times with those like fancy cakes that are made to look like things, it's like it's like it's like Rice Krispies treats stuff that they
Yes.
folded and then dowels and like wooden
Yes.
platforms to hold everything in place. So, I mean, yeah, a lot. I don't know. So I don't know about the Is It Cake show. Maybe that's a different thing. But sometimes I don't. Oh, I'm not always impressed with the. I mean, it's impressive. It's still a skill to be able to make sort of food into a shape. To make something. I can't make something attractive out of
Mm.
anything. So, but yeah, no, no. A lot of them, I'm not always.
See,
I'm sort of like that's not really like that's. Not, I know you're telling me it's cake, but I'm telling you it's sort of not cake because
right. I
there's a
will.
bunch of inedible stuff in there and or stuff that's not cake.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I've seen, obviously, because it's a thing, I've seen videos of people making these,
Hmm.
and sometimes I find it incredibly unenjoyable because the cake is just getting handled so much.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh, stop touching it. Like, if I'm going to eat a piece of cake, I'll admit I want it handled as little by human hands as possible. Like, I get
You're,
maybe you have to like turn it out into your hand and flip it onto the rack or something, but they're just like touching this cake for half an hour.
hmm. Well, I have I have bad news about a lot of the things you've eaten in your life.
Do you, when I've had a cake that you've made, which is probably rare because it's probably been late at night and I can't eat cake, have you touched that cake a lot?
Um, I mean, A, I probably got it from the store, and B, yes. So,
Yeah.
yep, yeah.
All right. I'll just
Just
reconcile myself to it.
touch and touch and touch and touch.
That's fine. That's fine. Do we have time for a couple hot picks?
Yeah, I think we have just enough time for a couple of hot picks.
That
Yeah, I'm
wasn't
not gonna play
anything
it,
like
so
the hot picks
I'm
theme.
not gonna remember to play it.
Are you gonna sing it?
No.
Okay, that's all right. We'll pretend. So
That's for special occasions.
I have a couple fun radio hot picks.
Oh, all right.
Lately, when I'm home on Friday nights, I've been remembering to tune in to WAYO LP Rochester at 10 p.m. to listen to the sound test with Samuel Fuentes.
Oh my, well, I can't stay up that late, but tell me about it.
It's video game music,
Okay.
and it's a bunch of beat boops, and it's a lot of fun. I don't know Sam well, but I met him once, and we had that whole like, wait, you're on Wayo? I'm on Wayo. So I was like, oh, I'm going to check out your show. It's fun. It's really good. I like it a lot.
All right.
Wayo's an awesome station. I have a feeling that I should have more by appointment Wayo listening.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll start working it in. But lately on Fridays, I've been remembering to tune in for Sound Test at 10 p.m. Following Sound Test, because Wayo's already on, why not leave it on, is The Witching Hour.
Oh my God. I'm definitely not awake for that, but tell me about it.
It's described on the website as dark, weird, spooky rock and roll radio. And it is. It's like stuff I would hear at the goth club when I was like 21 years old.
Wow.
And it's great. It's such fun to listen to.
So like like give me an example of who you might have heard at the goth club when you were 21.
Sisters of Mercy, Susie and the Banshee, Ministry, Skinny Puppy, Thrill Kill Cult.
21, sure. But yeah. I like it.
Yeah. And then I have another non-Wayo recommendation, but I have a lot of fun listening to this one. It's 9 to 11 on Tuesdays, and it's friend of mine, friend of yours, friend of the show, Austin Rich, doing his Mid-Valley Mutations. I can't talk. Mid-Valley Mutation show on WFMU. And you can tune in at wfmu.org/Sheena. And it's really fun. You never know what Austin's going to do. It might be some kind of radio drama thing. He might have a guest playing live music. He might have a theme. Recently, he had like a novelty songs theme that was a lot of fun. He did a like camping vacation one. It's a really pleasant show to tune into. And it's kind of fun because if you go to that same site, wfmu.org/Sheena, there's a chat button. And Austin is usually in the chat and people are just talking away. And it's just pleasant. It's fun to do.
Well, I'll just tell you, as an elderly person, I'm in bed way before that. So I would not listen to it live, but I would, like with the Wayo shows, I assume I can pick up on that later, right?
I think you can for the Witching Hour, and you also can for Mid-Valley Mutations. I believe Sound Test is still a little bit behind on archiving.
Yeah.
I will have to verify that. But the other thing that's fun about
you can get a
Mutations, you can, is that Austin often, he's starting to learn if he gives me a shout out on the show, I'll appear in the chat. So now he knows to summon me, and it's very fun. And I do appreciate it. So shout out to Austin. If we had a chat, I would be summoning you to it right now, but we are pre-recorded.
And Austin, I love you. I'm in bed. So it's, what are you going to do?
I think that's completely understandable. But so it's just fun because kind of throughout my life, I've had by appointment radio. And there's something pretty pleasurable to me for some reason to tune in when the show is actually on the air and like hear it. Well, I don't hear it because I don't actually get Wayo in my house. So I do have to stream it. But
Yeah, I know what you mean. I find right.
yeah, but
No, I know what
it's
you
just
mean because
fun.
everything is, well, it's nice. I don't know what it is, but there is that it is a nice feeling to feel like you're connecting with something as opposed to yeah. So,
I
anyway,
think
well, that's our
that's,
show for
yeah,
today,
even though,
and that's some
yeah,
other shows you can listen to at other times if you stay up late, which I don't, or if not, I can stream them later. It's fine. It's not really a big deal.
I think now not only can we not speak, we are experiencing some kind of weird lag in audio.
That's all right. So, you know what? We're wrapping it up. So, we're just going to say goodbye and we'll see you next
Goodbye.
week and listen to other shows and stuff. Hello.
Hello. Oh, we've got to do the end thing. I was waiting for you to stop. I lost my mind. What happened?
Oh,
My
I don't know.
mind just broke.
I it was me.
Ugh. Now I'm worried I need to grind my axe too.
Oh, your axe is fine.
But who am I without my sharp, shiny axe?
Your sharp, shiny axe is SOT cannon. You'll be fine.
Aw, you're right. That reminds me though, where can I get a cannon?
Yeah. I would focus on that fine axe of yours.
Sharpest axe in the shed.
How's that?
Eh, it's
How's
the
that?
only one.